So I know I've talked about this a lot and probably too much, but I put out a video yesterday talking about the report of Jake Glazer saying the Browns are looking at all options at quarterback, including replacing Baker Mayfield, but also including possible extension. So, and no, that's not clickbait for me talking about that. I'm literally covering a report that was put out, and I had no intention behind it. If you know me at all, you know I don't want Baker Mayfield to leave. I want nothing more than Baker Mayfield to be the guy for the Cleveland Browns. So if people don't know me and they think, otherwise, that I'm trying to start drama or whatever, that's just not true. But I wanted to talk a little bit more about this because I saw a video that came up on my YouTube suggested feed, and I will link this video in the description. And I'll try to put it as a card as well, if I remember. But this guy on YouTube, his channel name, it's all capitals, KTO. He put out a video 2 weeks ago titled Baker Mayfield's career has been eerily similar to this NFL legend. And I'm not going to repeat everything he said in this video because I highly recommend everybody go watch it, especially if you have an opinion on this subject. And basically, he just broke down the similarities between Drew Brees and Baker. And I've always heard this similarity, comparison between these two, and I see it, but I never really dug deep into it. And, this guy did here on YouTube, so go check his video out first. Stop here and then come back after you watch it. But I think that this is very, very fascinating because I've kind of got a couple new thoughts on this whole situation. First of all, I don't think people realize how big of a decision this is for the Cleveland Browns, okay? I think people have this mindset that you can go out and get any quarterback. Like, you can move off of a guy and go get somebody better, and that's just how it works. The Rams moved off of Jared Goff to get Matthew Stafford, and seems like a lot of Browns fans now are expecting us to do the same, or at least have that possibility there, which I suppose you could say that, but I think after I watched this guy's video, and again, TKO on YouTube, I think I said that right, whatever. Anyway, after I watched this video, I realized that the similarities are 100% there. And I'm not saying that Baker Mayfield will be Drew Brees, but this is one thing that I've always believed, and I don't care what people think about me saying this. If Baker goes to a different team, I think he can become the quarterback I always thought he could. I 100% believe that. That's just my true thoughts. And I was a guy from the very start, I said the Browns should draft Baker Mayfield number 1 overall. I said I don't think they will, but I think they should. And I wasn't on YouTube at the time, so it's not verified. You're going to have to take me for my word. But I have always been a huge fan of Baker. I've watched him throughout his entire college career, obviously his entire NFL career. But you could say I'm pretty invested in Baker Mayfield being the quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. Have a couple of jerseys, And a lot of my reputation, if you will, as far as opinions, I guess kind of ride on this. Because I have stated, and again, I stand on this, that I know Baker is an extremely talented quarterback. And I still think he is. Now, the question becomes, I said that I think if he goes to another team, he can get used to his full potential. Why do I think that? I think that the Cleveland Browns right now are in a weird situation because the offense Kevin Stefanski runs, it's either one of two things. Either he just does not trust Baker Mayfield to open up the pass game, or Kevin Stefanski is just so hard-headed that he's going to stick to his offense, and his offense doesn't have a pass game unless it's to tight ends. As I talked about in my last video, the number 1 targeted receiver, if you will, in the pass game for the Browns Sunday against the Patriots was D'Ernest Johnson, a running back. Jarvis Landry was, I believe, third on that list. I'd have to go back and look again. But anyway, the whole point is Kevin Stefanski's offense, as we sit right now, revolves around running backs, tight ends, and then wide receivers. You can even throw fullbacks in there, even though they don't get used as much. Seems like we're more willing to pass to a fullback than we are receiver. So I think the question then becomes, if it's the first option and Kevin Stefanski just doesn't like Baker, why? Because my thing is, Baker, regardless of your opinion on him, he has one of the strongest arms in the NFL, and when he's at his best, he's very, very accurate. Now, my problem with Baker has been his decision-making and the mental stuff on the field. Now, if Kevin Stefanski doesn't like Baker, I think it's pretty much a done deal that the Browns will be moving on. And I don't know how much I believe that. I think that Kevin Stefanski knows the traits that Baker has. I think he understands the ceiling. The floor is very bad. And I think Baker's just been so inconsistent that Kevin Stefanski is very worried about putting the game in his hands, thinking that what happened Sunday is going to, keep repeating, of the terrible decision-making, missing guys high and stuff like that. But if it's the other side of things and Kevin Stefanski's offense just refuses to pass, which I don't know how much I believe, I think it's a part of it, that's a very big problem. And as I said in my last video talking about the report of Jay Glazer, if this is the case, then the Browns might as well strip play calling from Kevin Stefanski and give it to Alex Van Pelt. Or, if worse comes to worst, I don't know how you can keep a guy who refuses to pass. Because in the NFL today, it's not sustainable to only pass to running backs and tight ends and then receivers. You have to have a pass game in the NFL today. This offense is not built to come from behind and win a football game. So, getting back to this comparison of Drew Brees and Baker Mayfield, the Chargers drafted Phillip Rivers, and, they weren't willing to sign Drew Brees. Drew Brees had a torn labrum. Now, the difference is it was in his throwing shoulder. Baker's is in his non-throwing shoulder. But you could see something similar here happen. I think there is a chance the Browns take a quarterback in this draft. I don't know if it's going to be in the first round, second round, third round. But regardless of Baker Mayfield, Case Keenum needs to be replaced. He's just not worth the money we're spending on him. And I don't think he's good competition for Baker because, as somebody brought up on the last video, bringing in a better quarterback that could potentially replace Baker would provide that spark of the competition, which when Baker's always had competition, he's succeeded. So I think the Browns will have a different backup quarterback, or at least another quarterback on the roster next season. But what I would do, and I don't mean to keep rambling here, but what I would do to handle this situation is, again, as I said before, I would sit Baker the rest of this year. I think he's very banged up. I think you're not going to get a fair assessment of him regardless. I don't care if he comes out and has 10 touchdowns and 500 yards against the Lions. It means nothing to me. So the Browns have picked up his fifth-year option for next year. They don't have to extend him this offseason. I think that the Browns should have a game plan here. If they do believe in Baker, I think they need to give him next year to fully prove himself. Let him get healthy. Let him have the surgery. Bring in some wide receivers for the love of God. Get rid of these shitty, slow, terrible receivers. Your Anthony Schwartz, who are just awful. Get some real receivers. I've been saying this forever. This receiving class this year in the draft is amazing, as it was last year, and probably the year before that. I'd have to check. But you got to at least get one of them. That's why in the first round I would go receiver. And I really don't care. Obviously, me being an Ohio State student and a Buckeye fan, I would want one of the two Ohio State receivers. But it doesn't really matter to me. All these guys are going to be talented, or at least most of them. Jahan Dotson, shout out to Jaden. He loves him. So do But I think the Browns need to get weapons, number one, to see if the pass game even has the ability to open up, because I think that's a part of it. I think a lot of the receivers are slow, and I don't think you're getting the best out of them. Rashard Higgins, we love him. Is he that talented? I don't think so. And I think that's a hard reality we have to accept as Browns fans. Like I said, Anthony Schwartz can't run routes. Doesn't have good hands. He is the definition of like a 3 to 4 year project. And I don't know why we picked him. It was the only pick in that draft that I rolled my eyes and was very disappointed in. But regardless, the Browns need to reinvigorate that wide receiver room. Something that has to happen. So I would do that go into next year with the offensive line staying the same, more weapons, get Baker healthy, and try to evolve the offense in the offseason. Game plan. Put the stuff in the playbook to do this, because again, you're not getting the best out of Baker if you're not attacking downfield. You're not taking advantage of the arm strength. That's just my opinion. But if the Browns do not believe that Baker Mayfield is the guy and they're fully off of him, they have to go all in on their decision. Meaning, they either have to trade for a quarterback that they know is good, that they believe is the guy, like the Rams did for Stafford, or they have to trade up in the draft and get their guy. You cannot sit at 16 or wherever we're picking right now and just say, whoever falls to us we'll take. Sam Howell, Kenny Pickett. No, you can't do that. Now, if one of those two is your guy, by all means, go get your guy. But in my opinion, as I've said before, the only two quarterbacks I like in this draft are, why am I blanking on his name? Matt Corral and Malik Willis. Those are the only two guys that I think I would take a chance on. I like Kenny Pickett. I do. I just don't see I just don't see it here. Desmond Ridder is a guy who I also like, but I don't know where he'll be picked. But my point here is the Browns cannot be passive and sit and just kind of let the wind blow, because they need to make a decision, because the window is closing. Regardless of what you think, the window is closing. They have to fire Joe Woods. They have to get a better defensive coordinator. They have to make a decision on Baker. If your decision is yes, figure it out. I mean, Kevin Stefanski is supposed to be this offensive genius. I don't think he is. I think Alex Van Pelt is the offensive genius, and I don't want Kevin Stefanski calling plays. And another thing people will point out is, hey, when we asked Baker to pass more in 2019, it was horrible. Well, yeah, because there needs to be a balance. You can't just throw downfield every single play. I mean, that's just stupid. And that's what Freddie Kitchens' offense was in 2019. But you also can't be the offensive Kevin Stefanski right now of only running the football. You have to have some sort of medium and some sort of balance. It's a reality. And it doesn't matter if Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. They have to have a balance. Because right now, honestly, my concern, this is the worst case scenario. The worst case scenario is the Browns move off Baker Mayfield and he goes to somewhere. Like I said, New Orleans, I think, would be a perfect place for him. And he becomes a superstar. And the Browns bring in a quarterback who they want. And the problems are still here. No downfield attacking. No pass game. That's the worst case scenario. So, again, I think that I'm not letting Baker walk out the door yet. I'm not. But I'm also not extending him yet. In my opinion, let him sit, bring in weapons, let him get healthy, and then go all in next year on if he is or isn't the guy. And I know that might be controversial because, again, the whole window thing, but I just can't let somebody who has the arm talent and the arm strength, same thing, walk out the door. I just can't right now. But I also can't extend him because I'm just not completely sold. And I know people will say, oh, that's you trying to balance both things, so regardless of what happens, you'll sound right. No, that's not. Because this is not my decision to make. My opinion is I still think Baker Mayfield can be the guy. I think he can. But there's a lot of work to be done. For him, with Kevin Stefanski, the defense is completely needs to be, redesigned from a scheme standpoint. There's just a lot of things to be done. So, no, I don't think I would move off of Baker yet. And also, I'm not exactly sold on this quarterback class. So, people talk about, Sam Howell is identical to Baker. No, Sam Howell is worse than Baker. He doesn't have nearly the arm strength, arm talent. But I don't know. I just wanted to talk about this after watching that video. I know I've been rambling, so I'm sorry about that. But anyways, let me know your thoughts on this. Do you think there's any comparisons between Drew Brees and Baker as far as their career path? Do you still believe in Baker if he goes somewhere else? Again, I just have it. I just have that gut feeling. I know if he goes somewhere else, he's going to be great. And I don't want that to happen because I want the Cleveland Browns to be successful because I don't want to go through 50 other quarterbacks who suck again. So, anyway, let me know your thoughts. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.